Rocket Lawyer doesn't give you that. No set of forms will. And without that, you could have a wonderful set of documents that don't do what you want them to do. Hi, this is Jeff Marsaci, the Plain English Attorney, and today I'm going to react to some Reddit stream on r/estate planning that I went through. And it was someone trying to do their trust on their own. And they actually went onto Reddit to ask, hey, I've got this very basic trust that I downloaded from this service, but I'm in Massachusetts. I'm sure there are some provisions I should be putting in. What do you think I should, does anybody have any suggestions? Well, you know what? Let me not try to paraphrase. Let's go ahead and we're going to go to the actual posts. So, drafting a trust. This is the start. The person who's the original poster. Hi, it's probably a bigger question with details, but can a template from rocketlawyer.com or Easy Forms work to self-fill in a trust in MA, Massachusetts? I feel like there are a few details that can be beneficial I'm unaware of. Thanks. All right, first comment, which is right on point. Use a lawyer, man. It sucks, it's expensive, but for big important things, it's nice to have some sound legal backing. Yeah, it's true. I can probably repair a few things around the house. There are just a few things that I can fix, but I'm not going to start messing around with electrical work. I'm just not going to do it. There's too much of a chance of some very big issues. But I'm going to get into the actual point of why this is just so bad, because believe me, it actually gets worse. By far the most profitable cases of my career have been cleaning up DIY estate plans. Make of that what you will. So here's an actual attorney responding and saying he's made an awful lot of money off these do-it-yourself plans, cleaning it up. And in fact, that's kind of a business model. Most people don't realize, and I'm not going to say the exact service, but they make more money from attorneys who pay to get on their list to clean up the messes when people mess these things up themselves. Next comment was, Massachusetts attorney here. Part of why one pays an attorney to draft is so that one understands what terms are in the trust and answer one's questions. A trust can be difficult to understand otherwise. Now, here's this original poster. Hi, could you explain if it's needed if property and assets are under $1 million? And aside from shortening probate, who should create a trust and how could it pay off long term? General benefits and for a beneficiary. Okay. This person wants to create their own trust, but they haven't even done enough research to understand what a trust does, and they threw out this $1 million figure as if it means something. All right, so here's the next, going further down in this Reddit thread. This right here, this is the problem. Could you explain if it's needed if property and assets are under $1 million? Thing is that the estate plan should fit your needs, and it's not a matter of if it's needed, but what are you trying to accomplish and what's needed to do that? You pay an attorney not just for drafting a form, but for knowing what form and how it needs to be adjusted for a particular set of circumstances. Rocket Lawyer doesn't give you that. No set of forms will. And without that, you could have a wonderful set of documents that don't do what you want them to do. All right, so let me tell a story here. These were some clients. They ended up becoming actually very good clients. They were very smart people. PhDs, both of them, a married couple. And they wanted me to review their will, not even a trust. Here's a will. And I went through it, and I immediately knew it was something they tried to put together themselves. And as I was going through it, I found some pretty darn big issues. I said, you do realize that you've disinherited each other. You're directly leaving everything in your will to your kids, and you're bypassing your spouse. Oh, no, that's not what we wanted. Okay, I looked down and went further. Okay, you do realize that you don't want each other to be executors. You named other people, but if one of you dies, the other person's not the executor of their estate. Oh, wait a minute. No, that's not right. That's not what we wanted. Okay. Oh, and you do realize that, when I went a little bit further, that the kids get everything at 18. There's no age restrictions whatsoever. No, that's way too young. They get so much. They can't handle that inheritance at 18. Okay. And then I went to the very last page, flipped it over, and I noticed that they had each signed their own wills. But then they had witnessed each other's wills, which is not allowed in North Carolina. In fact, I can probably safely say, but I'm going to hedge and say, look, I'm not licensed in all states. Your own spouse can't sign as an independent witness on your will. Your spouse can't do that. I know North Carolina and probably the other 49 states and other jurisdictions, they're an interested party. They can't serve as a witness. And they left the second witness place blank. So I said, oh, don't worry about it. This will isn't valid at all. And they were like, well, this is ridiculous. Doesn't our intent matter? Your intent matters if it's done properly, put into the correct format, signed and witnessed the right way. But this doesn't even reflect what you're telling me your intention was in the first place. And then I said, look, I need to know what attorney did this for you, because this has gone to the point of just incompetence, and I need to report him to the bar. And that's when they very sheepishly told me, well, no, they weren't truthful with me. We did this ourselves with a form we downloaded with a service they used online and got this download. And it's just, again, very smart people, but this isn't something that they do every day. They didn't know what they didn't know. They had no clue. They were so far back. They didn't even get a basic education. Now, when it comes to estate planning, when you're talking about a trust, you need to do a little bit of research. Now, there are a couple of pretty basic things that I would recommend to at least read up on trusts. First, there's my estate crash course at estatecrashcourse.com. We'll put a link in the description. If you don't want to go through a whole kind of comprehensive course that runs through here are the things you need to put together and think about and start to formulate before you go see an attorney for the first time. Hopefully that'll save you money on legal fees, especially if they're paying, you're paying them by the hour. You're already coming in at least decently educated on the basics. You've already thought about some of the main issues and you're ready to proceed. If you don't want to go that far, well, okay, got my book on Amazon, Estate Planning Basics. And if you want to go a little bit further and do more reading without going into the course, it's probably about 400 pages. And the tax numbers are wildly outdated, but it's still a really good resource. It's The Living Trust by Henry W. Apps III. And again, I'll put the links in the description for all of that stuff. But that's getting a background so at least you know the basics of what you're talking about. This person just had no idea. All right, so then there was my comment that I put in. So if you're actually looking for me on Reddit, occasionally I'll comment. I'm Plain English Attorney. Ditto, as an estate planning attorney in North Carolina, I've seen a lot of plans completely implode going the DIY route. I've even had several clients with solid plans we did get messed up because they wanted to, quote, just do a simple amendment on our own. And then I put a link to the YouTube video on that, and I'll put a link in the description there as well. And that was the case where they just went and did an amendment. Well, not even an amendment to the trust. They wrote it out and signed it as if it were a holographic will, which, okay, it was accepted and it was valid. You know, I ran that by the probate attorney we send our cases to. It's like, yes, looks like a valid will. And in that, they revoked all their prior stuff. So all that planning that we did over many years and had solid and they paid for, they threw it out. So I guess the original poster actually went and read it and went through the video. So careful by signing this, excuse me, it negates all other wills and trusts that came before line. Good tip. Thanks. What's the workaround verbiage to honor the existing living will with a trust as a complement? What's the workaround? They totally missed the point. Completely missed the point. I took showing how they messed up a solid existing plan and turned that into, oh, okay, that's good advice for when I'm going to try to do all of this stuff on my own with zero knowledge. But then they called the pour-over will a living will. A living will. That's regarding life support, artificial nutrition and hydration. You get to that end of life. The living will talks about getting taken off life. They called a last will and testament a living will. And they still want to do this on their own. Oh my gosh. So I commented back, seriously, get an attorney to do this for you. You just called the last will and testament a, quote, living will, which is an entirely separate document related to whether or not you want life support. And commenter under that, well articulated for us non-attorney laymen trying to figure this stuff out, or at least trying to understand it. What a nightmare. And then it goes on. As a trust officer that has to deal with those documents when it matters most, go see a lawyer. Not just any lawyer, but a good one who will take the time to listen to you and answer your questions. I've reviewed a number of documents that were just boilerplate documents that didn't do what the grantor thought they did because, one, the lawyer didn't listen, and two, the grantor didn't understand the document they signed. And a poster under that, you need an attorney, trust me, no pun intended. It's so true. Getting a background on the basics of those documents you're talking about for estate planning can go miles and miles and miles towards helping you realize what is your actual level of knowledge as opposed to, it's just a document. I can write. I graduated high school or got a GED. I can go ahead and draft my own thing. I can write. The legal documents are just a tool. That's all they are. your overall plan gets reflected in those documents when you work with someone who knows what they're doing. So, again, please get some of that basic knowledge. And like I always tell my clients, look, if you're going to do your research, make sure you do it, but then get a professional to help you with it. So, please stay safe, plan ahead, and enjoy life. And when you're planning ahead, please at least know what you're doing or get a professional to help. Whatever you do, please make it a great day.